Hi, this is Trevor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is Monday, March the 28th, 2016. Once again, I'm coming to you from my kitchen. It's my day off today. But I thought I would take the time to do a little video just about some issues that are kind of current and some things that have to do with what's going on in the industry. Some really good things about how things work here in Winnipeg, but also some concerns that I've had that clients have brought to me. There was a recent report through a Canadian network television show, W5, about telephone psychics in Toronto that had really been taking advantage of some people. It always kind of breaks my heart to hear this kind of thing going on. And unfortunately, as in every profession, there's good and bad. And sometimes the bad gets more attention than the good. One of the neat things here about Winnipeg is that we have a lot of kitchen table readers. That's why I love doing these videos at my kitchen table. Many of us here in this town have, in our ancestry, aunts or grandmothers or great-grandmothers who read tea leaves or who had an interest in reading and really approached it in a respectful, kind of down-to-earth way. I always call it food for thought. I see it as a form of art. Really an intuitive thing where there is the psychic element that comes through with it, but also something that we can take with a grain of salt and really with a sense of humor. People are often surprised that the going rate in terms of readings here in Winnipeg is probably the most affordable that you'll find just about anywhere in North America. So it kind of, again, bothers me to hear of people being taken advantage of. Now, that's not to say that reading over the phone is a bad thing in itself. I know some readers who say they have that ability. Personally, I find that I don't pick up a whole lot over the phone. I'm not a phone person, for one thing. And most of what I do, whether that's psychometry, working with an object, or reading cards, it involves sitting across from a person. I do readings over Skype, and I do find that there are some things that come through when I'm able to be seeing that person and getting a visual impression of them and talking to them. There's some things that come through. I can also get some impressions from pictures and things like that. But I keep my reading contained to what I can offer professionally and consistently. That's where, many readers have different abilities in a number of different levels, but we generally tend to keep our professional work within the realm of our specialization in terms of what we know we can offer consistently. So I'm going to tell you, when I hear of people who've been spending hundreds of dollars on phone lines, that, if you're not satisfied after that first reading, look somewhere else. Don't go back and spend more. Reading is not for everybody. And sometimes when people call me and they say they really, really, really need a reading, sometimes they're needing something else. A reading is never going to take the place of sitting down with an understanding friend or seeking out appropriate resources like counseling or therapy or perhaps some good technical advice. Maybe a person needs to see a lawyer. What a reading can do is sometimes give some suggestion that there may be need in those areas. But as a reader, I can really only offer food for thought. And ultimately, you are the boss of your life. At the same time, I'm going to include a link to a previous article I wrote way back in 2010. And that has to do with, unfortunately, how sometimes people take advantage of people when they're vulnerable. And that article is about avoiding scams. That's where a person goes for a reading, just wanting a reading, and where they find out there may be a curse on their life or something dire. And that's when sometimes somebody starts suggesting resources. What they call that in some industries is upselling. You go for a reading, but you find out you need something else and it's going to cost more. Well, I think that's unfair. And personally, I think that's unethical. Most of the readers I know may have abilities in other areas. They may be practitioners of things like Reiki or things like that. And they may say that might be helpful. But the reading itself is the reading. And that's what you're there for. And then you have the right and the ability to check out resources and to see if they feel right for you. A reading is your responsibility. Don't turn over your power to anyone. So those are just some of my thoughts around that issue. Personally, I like to read for people occasionally. I think that there's a necessary time and a place for reading. My mother, and those are her teacups there in the background, and my Auntie Madeline particularly, when they were teaching me to read tea leaves, they said, well, this is something that you just do every now and then. It's not meant to take the place of your judgment. My mother liked to go and see a local reader named Madame Red, and I would sometimes, hear her say, I'm thinking of going to see Madame Red, and I'd say, well, I want to go too, let me know when. And she'd say, well, not right now. When I think of it again, when it's something that comes up again in a few days, then I'll know. Or sometimes she would get the urge to go for a reading. But it was not something that was done lightly. It was something that was approached, with some mindfulness. I think it's wonderful, that there's establishments now that have maybe some readers who are available and sometimes available for walk-ins. You might get an urge one day to just have a reading done. And it's great that that can happen. And for myself, sometimes I do have same-day availability for an appointment. But often, I have to say, the more notice I have, the more I can really set up a time that's right for you. The less notice I have, the more you're at the mercy of my schedule. Because I do have other clients, and fortunately, I also do sometimes have other things to do. So I'm not just sitting around waiting for people to call all the time. Although I really love my work. So, it's great to be able to have a reading sometimes on impulse. But I think it can be sometimes too much of a good thing if we're just turning to readings to kind of see how our life is going. By all means, they are helpful, but they don't take the place of the other resources that we can seek out and work with. I like to wait at least a season before I read for a person again, letting things change, letting things evolve. And some people may not come again for a reading for a year, 2 or 3. I've been reading for over 30 years here in Winnipeg, and there's some people that I'll see once every few years, or some like to come around their birthday. For some, it's maybe part of a tradition. Also, the wonderful thing is that many of my clients seek out other readers at times for a different point of view. But a majority of people are not going for readings left and right. It's something that is not meant to take the place of your own judgment, your own wonderful instincts and intuition. So that's just my take on things. Many different people work in different ways. And again, there are practitioners that offer other resources as well. But that should be something that they're promoting in a clear-cut way. Be careful of the upsell, and anytime you don't feel comfortable, pay attention to your own instincts. It just may be that that's not the reader for you. And fortunately, I am the reader for some, so I look forward to seeing you, perhaps in person. If you want to book an appointment, you can find that information underneath this video. Take care. Hope everyone's having a lovely spring. Bye for now.